I don't have to work a 9-to-5 job all the time because I've got my Bitcoin. I still don't think we've reached the full potential. I think it'll be around, it's usually around November again. So 4 years from today, it'll be worth more. You can pick any date in the history of Bitcoin, add on 4 years, and it's worth more. This Bitcoin thing is like getting in a Facebook pre-IPO. I don't think the United States should buy more Bitcoin. Get government spending under control here. Come on now. But yeah, don't give up the Bitcoin. One of the reasons I can talk about how rich I am is there's no one believes me. Most of the people watching this now, they will just look at me and they'll be like, no, it's not true. Where's his, what's up? Why is there a fish tank there that's empty that he just has there because he found it on the street? That's why I have a fish tank there.
What is real? How do you define real?
You can't jump into cash. Cash is trash. What do? You get out.
Adam Meister, the man, the myth, the legend, who talks a lot about personal responsibility as the new counterculture, Bitcoin, buy and hold, strong hands, deferral of gratification, fitting in is overrated. Your home for Bitcoin insider information. Adam's been on the show twice before. We talked about algorithm slaves, fascism, and escape to the Bitcoin overlay in episode 68. In 121, we talked about personal responsibility, luxury beliefs, and the victimization crowd. I recommend you go back and check those out. Adam Meister, welcome back to the Bitcoin Matrix podcast for the third time, sir. How are you?
Wow, it's a pleasure to be here. And we talked about the victimization mentality last time. It's funny, that's become more and more popular here. Everybody wants to be the victim in all sorts of places. Oh,
yeah, well, we talked about that in July 9th, 2022. That was the last time we got together on the show. And before that was July 20th, 2021. So we've been overdue. I think I ran into you a year ago, maybe at a conference, but we haven't talked online in a while. I'm super excited to catch up with you. I saw a tweet from you the other day and I'm like, shit, man, I got to reach out to Adam because I want to bring different voices to the show and I think different viewpoints. And I was like, got to touch in with this OG. He's always got, a different angle on things. And you were like, I'm ready to go. Let's rip. So I was like, let's do this right away. So let's get into it. I'd love to hear how you are. And let's just go whatever you want to talk first about.
Well, I'm glad you respect the OGs, baby. The youngins out there today, they don't even know about what was going on in 2016 and 2017. It's unbelievable. I'm in Salt Lake City. I was at the Salt Lake City Bitcoin meetup. Salt Lake City is just a great place, by the way. I was at the Salt Lake City Bitcoin meetup, and I'm telling the kid, I'm telling this one dude, I've never sold a Bitcoin for fiat. I bought my first 2 Bitcoin in 2013. And this dude was in middle school in 2013 or something. So a lot has changed that they don't know. They don't know about the Bcash fork, what it was like to live through that in 2017. So I think a lot of people now are just shocked by my experience, the stories that I tell and stuff. Wait, you bought it at $600? I'm like, yeah, I bought a lot. So yeah, this is real. This is real. The buy and hold thing is real, man. It is real.
Yeah, for sure. Do you still think people should buy and hold now, post 100K?
Yeah, because we're one day closer to an all-time high. We haven't reached November yet. And, first of all, any time in the history of Bitcoin, remember this, people, you can go 210,000 blocks ahead, which is roughly 4 years. So 4 years from today, it'll be worth more. As you subtract 4 years from today, it's worth more. You can pick any date in the history of Bitcoin, add on 4 years, and it's worth more. So if you have a 4-year time horizon, which you really should, people, come on now. It's always good to definitely buy and hold. And more as I hope for, it now is easier to leverage your Bitcoin to get out loans if you so need fiat for some unknown reason. Well, there are plenty of reasons. So you get your Bitcoin, you leverage it, you get some fiat, you pay off your bills, it's all good. You still have your Bitcoin, and then you pay off your loan through various sources, through working or later. Maybe you'll sell Bitcoin in 4 years. I don't know, but it's a lot easier. I mean, Coinbase specifically now you can. I haven't tried this out, but you can give them. You'll take a loan out on your Bitcoin. That's ever since the election. Right after the election, they knew they were going to have the regulatory smackdown. So, and I think that's great. I think that's awesome. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you got to hold your own Bitcoin." Okay, yes, you do have to hold your own Bitcoin. But if you're running out of fiat, you can give a little bit of your Bitcoin to get some fiat from them, and you still own that Bitcoin. You can get that Bitcoin back if you don't get if you meet all their qualifications. You don't want to get liquidated or anything like that. There are rules to this, obviously.
Yeah. Don't over leverage. In the year 2025, make sure you have a good stack in self custody, not financial advice. I do want to talk about is this cycle different than in 2016, 2017, in 2020, 2021? What do you think of this cycle?
No, I think it's very similar. It's just like we reached a little bit earlier this year. We did hit. I think we did hit an all-time high at the end of in December last year. Yeah, it was. So that was weird that it did that little all-time high then when it really should be. But then it's been around there since then, and we've had turbulence. And then I still don't think we've reached the full potential. I think it'll be around it's usually around November again that the big crescendo happens. November, December, something like that. And it is amazing though this time how you can see how macro issues from outside of cryptocurrency. This tariff thing has been nonsense. It's been bad. It's been really bad. If that did not happen, it would be higher right now. It definitely would be higher. I mean, there's all sorts of hesitation and uncertainty out there. So it gets into the Bitcoin market now. I think what's, different from the 2017 bull market is obviously now Bitcoin is so much more intertwined with, more of the general population and just the general trends. It's, it gets correlated a lot more to the stock market now than it did. And more people talk. I mean, so many more people talk about it. But this is just part of the whole progression and the whole evolution of Bitcoin. And it is amazing. Now the president of the United States is in an 8-year period. Now he's all in his people are in the cryptocurrency. He's got. I mean, this would have been a wild dream during the Hillary versus Trump campaign. But we knew Trump was saying U.S. dollar is the best currency ever. He didn't want to talk about it. Hillary, she had said a few bad things about it. And we go to now crypto is the biggest thing. Bitcoin is the biggest thing, whatever you want to say. Bitcoin reserve. The United States is going to keep its Bitcoin and maybe buy more. And I don't think the United States should buy more Bitcoin. I think just let's get government spending under control here. Come on now. But don't give up the Bitcoin that you have. No, don't give up the Bitcoin. Yeah, all these people are so honored. The government says that it's great that they love Bitcoin so much they're going to buy some more. And I say this, dude, they should just treat Bitcoin. I don't care. They shouldn't. If they don't buy any more Bitcoin and they give us all the tax breaks in the world, the fair thing, why tax Bitcoin? It's insane. People, if they spend their Bitcoin, they have to worry about how much they paid for it originally. This is nonsense. It's nonsense. Come up with something. They said there were ideas that if it was under $1,000 or under $600 transaction, you wouldn't have to worry about all that stuff. Okay, that's a start. But it would be nice that that there were no capital gains taxes on it, and it was just this is money. That's all it is. It's just like the U.S. dollar. That's how we love it so much. We're treating it just like the U.S. dollar in terms of taxes. And we're not going to have a Bitcoin reserve. Okay, great. That's awesome. That's fine with me. But I care about me. I don't get this. The United States of America, being having the best reserve of money out there. That's okay. That's awesome. The dollar, anyway. No matter what, the dollar is going to stay number one amongst all the fiats, amongst all this madness. And I will say one thing about dollar dominance. if they let this with this, I like stablecoins. I like the concept of stablecoins because 99% of them are in dollar, or like people want dollars all over the world. It shows. And if we make it totally easy in the United States to use stablecoins, then it's a very simple concept that they're just going to be like, oh, it's a digital dollar. That's easy to accept. It's like there's a certain jump you have to make if you're a pizza place accepting digital dollars or accepting this Bitcoin thing where you have to pray, where there's a conversion and everything like that. But if people get used to using cryptocurrency without knowing it's cryptocurrency, then some of them are going to get into Bitcoin. And at the same time, this will just the United States making stablecoins totally easy to use, no regulation, blah, blah, blah. Other countries will do it, and that'll just make the dollar the strongest. The dollar already is the strongest currency, and that's good for Americans, I guess. For me, I value my wealth in Bitcoin. I'm always going to do that, but I'm a realist. I know most people are going to value their wealth in dollars for for the foreseeable future. So having stable coins be easy to use and all over the place are great. And it'll also be easier for me to just leverage my Bitcoin for stable coins and just digitally send my stable coins everywhere to buy stuff. And I'll still have all I won't have to. There'll be some decentralized intermediaries there instead of like Coinbase, which is totally centralized, and you have to rely on them not, confiscating your Bitcoin and stuff like that. So I just wanted to I know a lot of Bitcoin inquisitionists out there. They hear you mention stable coins, they think you're some type of trader. There's nothing. They're very neutral. Okay, they're not a threat to Bitcoin, and then people are like, oh, you're saying that there should be central bank digital currencies? No, those are two different things. Stable Tether is not the same as United States creating its own FedCoin. I will not opt in the FedCoin. I think the United States will eventually have its own FedCoin, though. And yes, they will be able to control what you buy with it. They will be able to monitor everything with it. It can only be used for certain occasions. You'll be able to get slavery reparations with it, and negative interest rates on your house with it. All this magical stuff that'll lock you into digital slavery. But you don't have to do that. I think it'd be kind of cool if the United States did a FedCoin, but they didn't allow their citizens to use it. They just let the rest of the world use it. So then we would just control the rest of the world and monitor them. And that's how we would pay, what's it call it? When we, aid, the foreign aid. We would do all our foreign aid in FedCoin. And I'm no problem with that. That'd be great. It's not hurting me. It's nothing to do with me. But anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. Just wanted to show everyone, for the people that are just reactionaries out there, they're like, oh, you like Tether? That means you like FedCoin. No, I don't. No, it's not the same thing.
No, I love the tangents. Please, more rants. That's great. I want to hear what you're thinking. But I would think that some people would counter that, maybe the government could co-opt something like a Tether in the way that, some say that, we don't have a social credit score here in America, but like maybe through Moody's and credit ratings and things like even Google through private-public partnerships that they achieve those goals without having it through the government explicitly. But did you ever think in 2016 when you were buying Bitcoin for $600 a coin that we'd be sitting here in 2025 talking about $100,000 Bitcoin, strategic Bitcoin reserve, the government using stable coins to sell treasuries, to build digital rails around the world? Whether it's good or bad, is this unreal to you, or did you see this all coming?
No, I did not see.
If you saw it coming,
I did not see a crypto czar ever being part of the White House staff. No, I did not. That I did not see. I thought, I knew it could get to $100,000 one day. I just could not predict a date back then. I couldn't. Like my first spiel was always like 2020 halving. Come on, people, just make it to the 2020 halving, and that's so long ago. There's certain. I didn't know that countries would eventually put it into their reserves, but I thought it would be countries. I didn't know about El Salvador specifically, but I thought about there'd be third world countries that were going to try to move up the ladder. That one would take a risk one day, But I didn't think I thought the United States would be like the last to really get on board in this way and have a reserve or anything close to that. So no, I didn't. But I did know countries. I knew countries would get into it. But I'm really shocked at how fast it's moved in the mainstream United States. But I did realize when we had this last election that this was an maybe even the midterm election, 2022. This was an opportunity. I saw how politics was working. Like, these rich Bitcoin guys just got to bribe all these politicians. Just that's how you give them contributions. This is how it works. And that's going to make it legal. Because on the other end, we have Elizabeth Warren. And I talked about Elizabeth. You can go on my channel. And people out there who don't know me, which is now most people, I used to, in 2017, 2016, 2018, I made Bitcoin videos every day. There were no altcoin videos at the beginning of that, okay? There were very few guys on YouTube. I was known, blah, 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 blah. It was great. But I make hardly any videos now because, it's a pain in the tuchlis, and I really don't have to worry about, I'm set for life because of Bitcoin. It's like why the YouTube algorithm, it's horrifying. It's like, it's only gotten worse on YouTube. There's all sorts of things. But my point is, in 2022, I believe it was on November 10th, 2022, I was at the, whatever he called it, Swan Bitcoin conference in Los Angeles. And I was warning about Elizabeth Warren then too. I'm like, this woman, she already admitted it was her shtick back then. Crypto army, she was against, anti-crypto army. So if they were going to do that, I give Dennis from Portland a lot of credit for organizing the Bitcoin talking to politician, setup there that they have. It's good. They did a good job. They made it to. We were at the Bitcoin conference I saw you at. It wasn't actually. It was 2023 when RFK and Vivek were speaking there. Do you remember? So that was that. You were at that one. Yes, in Miami. That's when I saw you last in person. And you'd run to the place, and you were in a big rush that day and everything like that. Anyway, no. With the that Bitcoin conference in Miami, that was a great start because larger politicians started seeing like, hey, wait a second, these secondary guys are talking to these rich guys, they're getting money for it. Now we got to investigate, and it was like a ball rolling down it was like an avalanche there. And Trump eventually, he likes to be bribed and stuff. So he got on board. He saw this was a good thing. And I think his youngest son really liked it or something. I don't know. And it worked out very well. And still, I give some Democrats, this should have been a thing that Democrats were in because it helps the common man. It really does. All these people that are semi-legal in the United States that don't have bank accounts, this could be their bank accounts. They should be able to have stable coins and easily pay up. But no, Elizabeth Warren is she needs a scapegoat. She needs people to be like, oh, the poor children are dying because of Bitcoin. I don't know. Or the single mothers, this is hard. All those rich guys like Zuckerberg, we have to get back at them, blah, 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 blah. Jeez, a whiz. So, she staked her claim, and then we staked our claim. And thank God it all, and the Kamala wouldn't give her opinion. And we had all these CUCK men out there that were like kind of defending her, but she sent out Mark Cuban, she sent out, it was so embarrassing what they were trying to do. Thank God we didn't have to see how that ended up. It's sad that this Bitcoin would have been fine in the long run, but to have someone like Elizabeth Warren would have been pretty bad. To have Elizabeth Warren would have been the worst. That would have delayed things. But this is great. We ended up with a guy who likes it, and now a political party that's totally into it. And still some Democrats, really, I think all the campaigning out there by the pro-Bitcoin people, you did a really good job talking to all the politicians. And Bitcoin's in a good space politically now in the United States of America. It really is. Even if, unless Elizabeth Warren becomes president in 2028, which is always a possibility. That is the worst, dude. If Gavin Newsom becomes president, it'll be fine. Bitcoin will be fine.
What about like AOC? I can kind of see her being a front run.
Let's see how she hasn't given her opinion on that, but it helps a lot of freaking people in the Bronx. She's supposed to represent the Bronx. We'll see. She goes with the flow. well, we have to see how she would position herself to even win. Like, how much Bernie would she have to jump on? It wouldn't be good. I mean, we have to see how she develops. She's a little bit of, I mean, it's pretty well known which direction she would go in, but it's relatively unknown how extreme she would be. Because I think she loves power so much that she'd be able to compromise on the big.
You know, you mentioned being set for life, and it's not often you hear someone get to be, because I think it's very courageous to share, in the sense that it's you know, just in a way that it's like, and I think people will have questions about that. So like, maybe what's it like to be set for life, and maybe what would...
It's incredibly surreal. It's incredibly surreal.
Hey Bitcoiners, I'm heading to Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas from May 27th to May 29th, and you need to be there. This isn't just another conference, it's the ultimate Bitcoin party. Grab your ticket now using promo code MATRIX or at the link in the description. See you in Vegas, freaks. Let's make this one legendary.
I see the number, and it's incredibly overwhelming. It's unbelievable. It's my dream as a kid. I didn't even know it would. And part of the reason it's surreal is because we live in this world of image and social media and everything. And still, you know, you've got these big talkers showing their Lambos and everything. So everybody thinks that is the winner. That's the Bitcoin millionaire. That's the crypto millionaire. And then you see me, and like, I'm just this dude wearing these Bitcoin t-shirts that I've always worn. I never have any fancy sets or graphics. I brag about how cheap I am. I live in a very small apartment that I rent. I never got a good car. And it's like one of the reasons I can talk about how rich I am is because no one believes me. Most of the people watching this now, they will just look at me and they'll be like, no, it's not true. Where's what's up? Why is there a fish tank there that's empty that he just has there because he found it on the street? That's why I have a fish tank there. I used to like fish when I was a kid. I was really good with tropical fish. And it's a good, I thought this is a good tank. It's a good tank.
I was looking at it.
Yeah.
I have been moving my tanks to a new house, and I got a pond, so I was looking at it, I was like, oh, I wonder why he has a fish tank behind him.
Yeah, I was going to like try to grow plants in it or something maybe too. I don't know. But and like everything so many things in this place, like I found for free, like this keyboard. I mean, all these things. So yeah, it's surreal. Like, I don't know if it's ever going to really hit me. It's like I might have I did hear Scott Galloway, who I disagree with on a lot of things. He actually talked about something like this too. Like, you don't know what to do with it. You're kind of paralyzed. And it's like a mental, like I can admit I have a mental problem. I have a mental problem where I'm paralyzed. It's like, and no one can, very few people on earth can relate to this. Like most people are like, you got rich and you can't spend your money? I'm like, yeah, I got, but I'm really happy. I think the best part is like, you never have to worry about, if emergency happened, like you would just get into your Bitcoin and it would be fine and stuff. If a family emergency happened, you would just get into your Bitcoin and it would, and like my family, we've gone on a family vacation together. But I want to do like a spectacular one. That's what I want to do. I love doing things with my family and stuff. And just like, as a 16-year-old kid, if you told me, Adam, you're going to be rich, I'd say, well, yeah, I know I'm going to be rich, but like, what are you going to, you're going to get, and you're not going to have a good car. And I'd be like, what? Yeah, but I just don't value cars anymore. I really don't. They're such a pain in the butt. They're such a debate. I'd like to have no worries. I'd like to focus. One thing that it's allowed me to do is get caught up in this health stuff, like getting good sleep, relaxing. I bought this. This cost me $600. That was good. Like this I'm very proud of. I'm like, yeah, I got the most expensive Garmin watch out there because well, not the most expensive one because I didn't need it to look fancy, but it does the best things. And it's just a rubber. I didn't need the fancy. It's $100 more for a special strap that does nothing. It's just decorative. I don't need the people to know on the street. You see, well, I was about to say someone might jack me, but in Salt Lake City, no one will jack you. It's awesome. Oh, you get going. Yeah. But in Baltimore, yes. If I was like flaunting some gold watch, I'd be a little, I'd be worried. I'm from Baltimore originally. Everybody, you could tell my horrifying accent. You know, all the money in the world and all the best education. I had a very good education. My parents worked very hard for me to get a great education. I still have this is the Baltimore working class accent. You can't get rid of it. You can't get, and it's like Jewish people that have it too. We passed it on generation to generation. You should see the people that we sound like, the rough people from back in the day. And so but anyway, yeah, it's great to have no worries and to relax. And just to relax and to just, do things that most people don't have time to do. I'd like to run, and I'd like to, when it gets warm here in Salt Lake City, I pick the fruit from the trees all over the place. You have a lot of free time. Just a lot of, you can, and I get in a regimented schedule too, which helps your health. And I do things that I want to do. That's what wealth is about. It's not about being, at least to me, it's not like living spectacularly. It's living comfortably and worries free. So I'm glad I don't have any worries out there.
What motivates you? I'm not asking in general, but what motivates you? And because you could speak to anybody and try to reach anybody, but what motivates you to keep speaking to Bitcoiners?
Well, I am. That's one interesting thing. I'd like to keep on aiming high. That's why I'm not satisfied with the amount of Bitcoin that I have. And since I'm not satisfied with the amount of Bitcoin that I have, I want more. I want more, and I've gotten more over the years. I'm just very proud when when we have one of those horrible days, like in 2022, it was it was right around the time of that Bitcoin conference in California. It dipped down to like $17,000, and I tweeted out that I bought some that day. That 2022 there were 2 times, and I love that. And so and that's part of the reason I want to reach out to other Bitcoiners. Because I think it's like, this is still early. Well, it's not super early because we got, Michael Saylor out there. I mean, that was a sign that we moved up. And obviously with the ETFs, it's not, but people still have a chance. I think it does transform the world in a good way, getting things more digital out there and having this experimentation. I like to be on the edge of innovation. I love it. I've always liked innovation and technology. So I'm not leaving this space. I want to be part of that. So that's why I reach out to people. I want to be a part of it still. I want to get people into it. And I think, the more and more that are into it, I mean, it's going to be better for me. The more productive people, and I want to share my philosophy with the world. I do want to do that. So I intertwine the Bitcoin, and I like to do other projects. I have all these ideas written down. That's another thing. You have time to write down your ideas. And that's something that I think I'm always going to be like, there's still another idea that I want to work on. And there's so many ideas that I want to work on. So that keeps me going. That keeps me talking to people. And I'm goal oriented in a sense, but I don't know exactly I'm system oriented. And my system is just like, get up at this time, get to bed at this time so you're healthy, so your brain's healthy. Write down these ideas. Always write down these ideas. Listen to these guys. Post here. If you keep on posting, you're going to network with more people. Always be networking. That is part of my philosophy also. But just speak against scapegoating. I've got like 9 principles I have written down. I can't remember all of them. But work on the philosophy. Study philosophy. That's good. Just always expand your mind. And so talking to people, meeting more Bitcoiners, getting more ideas out there, it's just that's what it is. It's totally expanding your mind and expanding the innovation of the whole world and the whole productivity. I loved competing, not complaining. Let's keep on doing this. Let's keep on putting Bitcoin, because I am a confident decentralist. I know Bitcoin is the best thing out there. And I'm just so I always see the positive to a lot of things. Like, I want to see someone try to fork Bitcoin again. I'm not threatened by it. I lived through it. That's part of the good thing about being experienced. It's like, it makes you kind of stoic. It takes the emotion out of it. You're not scared when you hear about, well, how did all the ETF companies all of a sudden fork Bitcoin? Yeah, that doesn't scare me. I lived, Roger Ver was bigger than all of them back in 2017. It was a much different scale. But no, I'm not scared of forks, and I always see the bright side of things when people are like, this will be the end, the mining, all these things I've heard 50 million times. And it's just like, it's not emotional to me anymore. and I want to see more and more changes. Well, not just what comes next. I love the future. I love seeing the future. So that gets me just, the best way to get to the future is just keep talking to people, meeting people, and living. And that's part of my. It was a long-winded explanation.
That was great. Maybe speaking of networking, expanding your mind, and even being set for life. I mean, do you ever find yourself in unique situations where you run into other Bitcoiners who are in that similar situation? Because there's not a lot of them who are, around and maybe at conferences, and maybe you guys bump into each other. And is there maybe some synergy of meeting the minds there? Do you maybe learn some of their guidelines for life? Because, I think that there's, you could be 16 or 26 or 36 or 46 or 56 or 66 or 76 or 86, 96, dream about being rich. And you could say, I'd get a 2-door Mercedes convertible, and then you're rich, and you're like, it's not as fulfilling as I thought it would be, maybe. And, so there's lessons learned from being on the other side, and maybe there's not a lot of people to talk to about the lessons you learn, because maybe, so what are your thoughts?
There's different levels of it. I mean, first of all, I am quite fulfilled. I will say that. But I do want to talk about my mental issues with being unable to spend, because I think I think that there's a different level of fulfillment that I still can reach if I spend. But people do contact me when it gets to its all-time high. And they're like, yeah, you made me a millionaire. That's really awesome. But they're not in this, and that's another reason I want to keep talking to Bitcoiners, because you can still become a millionaire with my advice. You really can. You can't. We don't know how high this thing's going to go. I mean, I don't try to get people that excited. I don't like saying Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million. I refuse to say that, actually. But because I'm not in it for the clicks. Now, the guys that are long-term OGs like me, I gotta say, I hope they're all millionaires, but there is a fear in me that some of them, I don't know. There's some people I worry about. So you never, there's some of the things they still have to do. It looks like they still, the projects they're involved in or whatever. They're still working as hard. They're worried about the YouTube algorithm and stuff. And I don't know, man. there's only a certain level you're going to worry about that anymore, man. It's and just fitting into certain, I don't know, whatever. But if people, and maybe some people just enjoy doing that, still being part of that creator. It is fun. It's fun to make videos and everything like that. It's great. It's great to be a podcaster. But some of these dudes, wait, some of the things they're saying and their titles are so horrifying. You're rich and you're saying, what is this? You're starting trouble, or you're just clearly trying to get clicks. I wonder. So people, I do wish I could have a candid conversation with someone who's in the same situation as me. But I don't know who exactly is in the same situation. There was one dude. I don't want to say too much, just in case no one's going to know who this guy is. But there was a dude I knew in Australia, and he had been on my show before. And then I met him in Australia. He actually gave me this. I'll show you. He had this mail to me from Australia. This Bitcoin thing, and I thought it was so nice of him. And this is around 2017, before a lot had changed. And I knew this guy had a lot of Bitcoin. And then shortly after that, I tried to get him on the show. He's like, dude, I'm not appearing on anything ever again. And you're not going to hear from me. I'm going to disappear. And the dude did. I don't know what happened. He was a big guy in a certain city in Australia with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin early on. And I had never heard from the dude. So I'd love to talk to him, because that dude had more Bitcoin than I did. And he did his thing, but he was really worried. And I am careful and everything. I'm never going to go to Russia or some Eastern European country where they understand what Bitcoin is. And like if someone invited me to speak at a Russian Bitcoin conference or an Eastern European Bitcoin conference, that's a setup, man. They're gonna grab me by the you know what and say you're gonna give me all your Bitcoin, boy, or they'll just kill me. And so no, there's certain places I can never go and certain things I can never do now, obviously. But and I'll be the judge. You know, if one day the whole world becomes like that, then yeah, I will disappear too. But as I said before. Most people, they see me doing something like this. Oh, look at this cute little Bitcoin. They're like, how can that guy be? That guy's just like a crazy guy. He's not telling the truth. Look at all these things. He can't stop moving and stuff. What's his freaking problem? But yeah, I mean, this is who I am. But I'm telling you the truth. And people can do their own research. I mean, it's so. If you watch all my old videos and everything, I mean, there was one guy once who figured out how. Some guy got close to like guessing how many I had. It's crazy, but like yeah, you can tell this is a real thing, man. Like I've really practiced what I preach. So like, how could he have not sold any of his Bitcoin? How is this possible? I'm like, dude, look where I live. I don't like do fancy things. But you travel all around the world. I'm like, yeah, but I like made my own food when I traveled all over, and I picked the cheapest good Airbnbs. But like, I went to cheap places. I went to Santiago. I was in a real nice place. It was cheaper than living in America. It was awesome at that time in 2018 and stuff. So I mean, you just gotta, use your brain, people. Just be intelligent. I mean, I guess some people aren't that intelligent and everything, but I'm not a super duper genius. But I use my, plan ahead. Do not be impulsive. Just like I have not been impulsive with any of this. That I'm proud to say, and it really pays off. And that is I know how to defer all sorts of gratification. Trust me. Now that's partially because there was a time in my life that I was partying like a wild animal out there. Okay, there was a time of that, but I didn't do anything to him. Well, yeah, there were impulsive things that I did, but not with money. Never with money was I impulsive. But yeah, like other things. But everyone has that state. Like I encourage the young people out there today that are in their 20s and stuff. Yeah, have a fun time. Yeah, it's good to It's good to value your wealth in women for a while, and kind of like decide what route you want to go on. But never do anything insane with your money or anything like that. Don't blow your whole load of money on a woman or on some insanity out there. Have fun though. Do have fun. Life is not just about being a total like stick in the mud or whatever. Wild times in Baltimore. I lived a whole nother life there at one time. And it's funny, like when I go back to Baltimore, people still think of me for certain things that I did then. They have no idea about the cryptocurrency stuff, the Bitcoin stuff. No idea that I had this channel though. And the funny thing is, there have been 3 times in my life where I've randomly been on the street. 3 times now. Once it was in Boise, once it was in Miami, and once it was in Salt Lake City, where random people recognized me as a Bitcoin Meister. Now, I was not at a Bitcoin event. I'm just walking on the street. And so it shows you the reach of YouTube. So I'm very flattered by that. That's just amazing to be. Now, when I go to Bitcoin conferences, yeah, I get recognized and stuff. That's totally different. But my point is like Baltimore is not a city of I don't know. They're a city of complainers, victims. They still see me as Adam from that helped this one neighborhood out and stuff. When I was willing to almost sacrifice my freaking life for the city of Baltimore. I mean, it was crazy. Some of the stuff that went on where I was at. It was fun, but for various reasons. No, they don't know. They never researched it. They're just like, that's Adam Meister. Yeah, he's the Reservoir Hill guy. Yeah, that's Adam. They don't know Bitcoin from.
I mean, Bitcoin OGs are kind of an interesting breed, rare breed. I mean, you have the ones who go off the reservation, Roger Ver and whatnot. And I don't think, Roger's a complicated thing. I think he did a lot of great things for Bitcoin. I don't like seeing the government go after him for tax reasons. I don't know if he did shady things there. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I think Bitcoiners should pull a little bit harder for him. But I think that, you have the ones that went off the reservation. You have the ones who held because they didn't even know what they were holding. Maybe they were buying drugs on Silk Road and it got shut down, and then they got their Bitcoin back years later. Maybe some bought Bitcoin and didn't know what it was, and they still got lucky. So you have forced hodlers. You had people who bounced into it, and then you had even
there are people who, like Pierre Rochard has talked about how maybe they, understood Bitcoin really early, like Pierre did, but were very young and followed maybe not the best advice, like maybe paying off their student loans at 7% instead of buying more Bitcoin, right? I mean, it was the prudent thing to do, and a lot of your elders might have told you to do that, and maybe that wasn't cost, benefit positive, but you did what you did. And then I think I think, and my reflexive instinct is to question anybody whose story is how much and when they bought Bitcoin. Their whole persona, and like you said, they're working very hard and sharing that over and over and over, maybe very publicly. So I would question, maybe people don't have what they say they have, some of the more prominent people, and like you were kind of touching on before. So, they're a rare breed. I mean, I could think of a few that I'd be curious to see if you've bumped into. I'm not going to name them, to see what kind of maybe conversations you've had on the sideline, because there are a few like you that I could think of. But one way that you're a little different, is you're very different, but one way, you have, and I think this is something we have in common, but like very liberal roots, very much trying to fight for the common man, do-gooder kind of roots. And like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I wish there was more of that. I think that is a big thing of maybe what you and I maybe try to bring to Bitcoin. I wanted to maybe know your thoughts on that, because, Bitcoiners, and I'm not saying where you link, I'm not trying to have a political conversation, but Bitcoiners tend to be identified either externally or even internally as more right-leaning, either in their roots or where they are now, and it doesn't matter. But, I was just kind of curious.
Well, first, I did want to say with Roger, he definitely had as much Bitcoin as people thought. I mean, that was part of the tax filing. He said, I don't like the government going after people for taxes. I don't think he tried to avoid taxes. He was such a public figure. But people rejoicing in this, him possibly going to jail, that's wrong, man. That's wrong. Now, you could still split things off from that and say, like, his constant complaints about the Reddit, that he was censored on Reddit. A lot of the stuff he says is nonsense. But you got to be principled, people. You got to be principled. That's the thing, and that's something I think I try to bring to all this. Just because someone is kind of distasteful, has something bad happen to him, but it's against your core principles, well, then say that. Say, like, yeah, he kind of sucks as a person in certain ways, but they're going after him for the totally wrong thing. And as for me and the little guy and coming from I think we all are raised in this altruistic society where we're supposed to live for other people and try to help other people and not, sacrifice. And I'm not into sacrifice. I want to do well. I am proud of what I've done here. You talk about there's some OGs that maybe got lucky. No, I don't think there are any. I don't think you're saying that you think that. No OG got lucky. No, to hold it this long. I've been saying all along. I mean, you could go to old videos of mine numerous times. Throughout this whole process, this is not luck. This is not luck. This is a hard day, but there are so many hard days out there. I'm like, people will remember you on days like this that it's not luck. And because people are like, when they look back, like, oh, buying and holding, that's so easy. That's so easy. No, when you're living through it, holding is really, really hard. I know an OG, you talk about OGs making bad decisions, and now they have to pretend that maybe they didn't make a bad decision. I do know a guy, when Bitcoin hit that all-time high, that was so shocking, $19,600. Oh my God, it's December of 2017, and it was just $3,000 a few months ago. Oh my God, look how well I'm doing. I am going to buy a new Tesla. A new Tesla. And a guy bought a new Tesla when Bitcoin was, he spent like new Tesla, that was like 10 Bitcoin or something. So he thought he was so, and then shortly after that, Bitcoin crashed, down to 10,000. So he thought he'd done a great thing. He's like, look, I got this also. And I got to tell you, he took me around his Tesla. I was like, this thing's awesome. Like, I'd never seen anything like this in my life. But I knew that, like, this probably was a bad decision. I knew it was a bad decision to spend 10 Bitcoin on a Tesla. And since then, what's happened? Bitcoin price has gone up and Tesla prices have gone way down. I mean, he's made the Tesla much more affordable. It was not an affordable car back then in December of 2017. So that's an amazing thing to live through. But in terms of sticking up for the little guy and everything, I just don't like scapegoating. That is what it's come down to here. If you're going to blame the little guy for stuff, that's horrible. If you're going to blame the big guy for stuff, if you're going to vilify the wealthy, that's scapegoating. What Elizabeth Warren is doing is she is fomenting a Marxist revolution. When you start saying they don't deserve what they have, you're saying, abolition of private property. Their private property must be abolished. It is right to steal from this group. It is never right to steal from any group. I don't care what it is. So that's what I try to bring. And a lot of people in Bitcoin they still have that victim mentality where they're like, oh, it's the big banks, the big banksters. We got to get back at them. We got to steal. Oh, Trump is going to shut them down or JD. No, why go after what's going on? Why? Why hurt other people? Why tear other people down? If we're so awesome, let's build ourselves up and not rip up. That's what the haters do. The haters rip that's how they become, because they all believe everyone should be equal, okay? So what do? They rip the rich down. No, I don't believe everybody should be equal. Everybody should, let the people who work the hardest, who have the most patience, let them do the best, okay? Let's see how the most creative people, let them do well. And yeah, I think it's just that the most creative, hardworking people out there have more than the lazy bums, okay? There's nothing, but maybe the creative people are going to come out with some innovation, that'll just create some UBI for all the lazy bums and they'll just stop complaining. I don't know. That's why I'm like, don't try to hold back the most creative, most productive people. Don't try to steal from anyone. Abolition of private property is horrifying. Marxism is horrifying. Blaming the banks for everything is really bad, and it leads people to bad places. And I don't like the us versus them zero sum mentality. Like, there could be many winners out there. The banks can do well. Bitcoin can do well. I don't know. A blue state can do well sometimes. A red state can do. I mean, come on now. It's like don't go to war, and there's no point in revenge either. So I see a lot of Bitcoin people who've joined there's two different sides in terms of politics, in terms of the people that are hanging around Trump. And some of the Bitcoin people kind of are in and out. Most of the Bitcoin people are part of the tech right that are hanging around Trump. They get rid of the regulations. Stop stealing from us, because regulations steal from you. They limit you. That is awesome. That is so awesome. So that makes me happy that Bitcoin has gotten into that side of politics. And then Mark Andreessen can do whatever he wants to do. But then you've got these Bitcoin inquisitionists who are like, well, Mark Andreessen, he's a rich guy. He's super duper rich. The VC guys are all our problems. The VC guys are the ones who fund Solana. That's an altcoin. It's horrible. They did some. It shut down once, Solana. Why should Mark Andreessen be around the president of the United States? Why should he not be taxed now? Why is he good now? And they're like, they're part of the woke right. Where we've been the victims for years. The banks have done XYZ to us. Let's shut down the banks. Let's attack this bank that attacked this guy once, and let's bring it all down. And that's some of the good side. It's not good, but some of the more less insane side of the woke right. Then we've got the woke right that are just like, yes, the banksters are part of this mysterious cabal. Now we can get rid of the mysterious cabal. We can't say who they are. We've never been able, even though we make shows about Israel every single solitary day, we're not allowed to say, we've been censored constantly Constantly, they've censored us. That mysterious cabal has even know, all we do now, and the algorithm loves us to make these shows about this insanity. We are the victims still. Hey, and Tucker Carlson, every day, I mean, Tucker Carlson's the very embodiment of all this. He was speaking out against crypto and Bitcoin for a while until he could get a few guests that are, kind of share his mentality. I mean, it's the craziness that's out there. People, be principled, okay? Be principled. If you're into Bitcoin, how do you like these centralized figures kicking people out and just like be a confident decentralist? There's no one controlling you out there, okay? You could move if you think there's a mysterious cabal. Your little town in Ohio, sure, it's sad that the industry has moved away. Should we just tariff the whole world because of that? And then Tucker Carlson's going to promise you they're going to build a new factory and you're all going to be happy again? No, there's no new factories coming to your town in Ohio. The government shouldn't be in charge of building factories in your town. You're a freaking leftist now if you believe that. Seriously, dude. The government, I mean, you're a socialist. The government should control the means of production. They're going to build your factory because things are too expensive in China. We're gonna make T-shirts here now. It's not happening, dudes. It's like you're believing. You get out of that victim mentality. None of this backward economic stuff that some of those woke right people are. They think it's such a. I don't know what world planet are these people living in, where the whole world is like having a huge hiccup now because of like these taxes that are being put. That's what tariffs are. They're just taxes. It's costing all the consumers more, and they're cheering it on. Like, whoa, what do? You are in a cult at this point, man. You are at a cult. You want revenge for the sake of revenge, and that is what the woke right is just like. They victims, and the government needs to help the victims. The government is there to bail people out, and they would readily say, no, the government can't bail out banks. Well, they shouldn't be bailing out freaking industrial towns and people that are in bad situations in these industrial towns either. And just that's part of the reason he won, because of that demographic. And I understand why they feel abandoned. I understand, but they've got to be told a positive message like, dudes, you don't have to work with your hands anymore. We're not a third world country. We're beyond that in the United States. We're so technologically advanced. We have such abundance. You could just work at a computer all day. Learn some things here, okay? Get some new skills. Be positive. Maybe move to a place, instead of like, going to conspiracy sites all day online. Maybe learn some other things instead of learning about lies and reconfiguring your brain on history. Learn some technical skills, or just like some social media stuff that you can make money with. This AI opportunity is so awesome. These doomers out there that are feared, it's going to take people's job, blah, 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 blah. It's going to hurt the working man again, working man this, working man that. This is class warfare, dudes. This is, I am not into I hate, that's one of my things. No class warfare. See stuff through a cultural lens. Don't judge somebody because they're working class. Don't try to put someone in the working class. Don't try to say someone's in the technocratic class or whatever. Judge them by, how they live. They're nice people. If they're productive citizens and stuff. If they're into a culture of life, not a culture of death and ripping people down, okay? But like trying to pit one class against another class is a sickening thing. It's just like trying to start a race war. It's like a religious war, pitting one religion against another religion. It's like don't try to make this group warfare thing on any level. On any level, you are an individual, confident decentralist. That's what it boils down to. Okay, and of course, you have some commonalities with people, but don't make your whole life worth this. Class or because you just become a cog in the machine and you get caught up in nonsense and you start cheering on tariffs and stuff.
Do you think Bitcoin fixes class warfare?
I think if you understand what it is, that no one controls it, and that it's personal respect. It's only you that controls your destiny with Bitcoin. It's only you. It's not, anyone can buy it. Anyone. If you think you're part of the working class, nothing preventing you from joining the Bitcoin world, the Bitcoin overlay. There's nothing preventing you from that. It's not like, unfortunately, the United States, by having regulations, creates this artificial class. It's an artificial class of people who could only buy, pre-IPOs and stuff. You were not in that class. I was not in that class of people that was, had the qualifications to buy Facebook before anybody else. And I made videos in 2015 about that. When I was in New Zealand at the end of 2015, like, this Bitcoin thing at $400 is like getting in a Facebook pre-IPO. This is like everything that you've complained about, people, that you couldn't buy Facebook before. Because back then people were talking about, like, Facebook's going public and all these people got to buy it before. That's not fair. That's not fair. But Bitcoin is fair. So then you see, like, anyone can, there is no, why do I have, nothing is holding me back. There is no class that is holding me back. I can attain any amount of wealth because of this. I'm not stuck in some path of life where I have to work hard with my hands all the time. I know guys who were, who people will consider, they had industrial type of jobs, working with trucks and stuff. And because of Bitcoin, they don't have to do that kind of stuff anymore. So it breaks down, it connects people that think they have a lot of differences. Okay? There are people, dudes in Australia that are doing well because of this, and it connects me to them. Dudes in South Africa that are doing well because of this. Black dudes in South Africa that you think you don't have a black Muslim dude in South Africa I know who did well from this and stuff. Like stuff people you think you never would have anything in common with, you do. And you just realize that, we're a bunch of individuals. We can opt into stuff, and everybody can be a winner. Everyone can be a winner. In the class warfare thing, only the upper class is the winner. Okay, those are the true winners. Everybody else has to be envious of them, and then most people have to be envious of the middle class, and then the working class is going to overthrow the people. This is no, with Bitcoin, you're all individuals, and you've got just the commonality of that, and that's something you opt into, and you're a winner, and they're a winner, and everybody can be a winner.
I love this idea of the Bitcoin overlay. It's probably the best way to express the Bitcoin matrix. I'll ask you, but what's it like living in the Bitcoin overlay?
It's where you don't have to worry about so many of these petty things that people don't worry about. Like,
Hey Bitcoiners, get your sats off your exchange now. This is not a drill. Thea is the world's simplest Bitcoin self-custody solution. With their module multi-sig vaults, you decide how to hold your keys. Thea is working day in and day out to bring you the most intuitive Bitcoin self-custody solution, regardless of how much you own or what your storage goals are. And they support your favorite hardware. Download Thea now for hassle-free Bitcoin self-custody at thea.us/Cedric. That's THEYA.us/CEDRIC.
And again, some of these things do affect Bitcoin on some level, but like, you don't have to worry about your bank confiscating, having a bank bail-in, having just the bank losing your money, just depending on third parties. When you're the Bitcoin overlay, you're depending on yourself, and you don't have to worry about these third-party worries that you used to have at all. And you could just kind of watch it from the outside. Like the people who totally rely on who's in political parties, like when you're in Bitcoin, you're going to be all right. If worse comes to worse, I could leave. I could move from America and I still have all my Bitcoin. And it'd be no hassle, leaving, if Bitcoin somehow became if the United States somehow became a Marxist, Elizabeth Warren dictatorship, that would be bad. But I don't have to, I'm in the Bitcoin overlay. I just started a new life somewhere else. I don't have to worry about some, if I was married, if getting divorced and having a woman take all my money, I would just be like, I would have a secret. I've always told guys they have a secret stash of Bitcoin that their wife does. But half of guys get divorced and stuff. But stuff like that, you don't have to worry about certain things, and you get to trap. Like, you don't have to have the traditional house anymore. Get your, worry about all your wealth is in your mortgage. And no, with Bitcoin, you're like, I don't have to play the mortgage game anymore. I don't have to. I can think outside the box and know that renting is pretty darn good, man. It's pretty darn, it opens your mind to a lot of things that you didn't have to, you would never thought of if you were caught up in the fiat world. And like, no, I don't have to work a 9-to-5 job all the time because I've got my Bitcoin. And like, I'm not, oh, wow, they just shut down the whole world's economy. I'm like, I can still do my shows and I still have my Bitcoin. And like, why do I have to be scared about going outside? And I don't have to fit, I can say whatever I want to say about this craziness that's going on. That was pretty good to be the Bitcoin overlay in 2020. That was one of the best times. Like, no, like, the world isn't over now. This isn't the financial Armageddon. Like, that's one of my proudest Bitcoin moments in March of 2020. Like, because I am in the Bitcoin overlay, because I'm living in this different world of where I value my wealth in Bitcoin. And I see just what the whole world is financially melting down because of this virus thing that I've lived enough years in my life to know that there's a day after tomorrow, okay? Things are gonna bounce back. And like, I see everyone panicking like a madman. And I've lived through all these Bitcoin panics before, okay? I've seen so much of the Bitcoin overlay. And I'm just like, no, Bitcoin will be fine. This is a temporary thing. And I don't have to join this insane train to fit in. And I can think clearly. Because no matter how many people get sick out there and how much the stock market crashes, I still have all my Bitcoin. Nothing has changed. I still have all my Bitcoin. My bank, if my bank shuts down, great. It doesn't matter. I still have all my Bitcoin. And I am not going to panic. And I posted, within a 2-day period, I spent $10,000 on 2 Bitcoin total. So, it averaged in at $5,000 during that period. And I posted the Coinbase thing on there. You can still go back and see it. And also, I thought logically, I'm like, well, back in fiat world, I remember George Bush, he gave us all a stimulus check when we had some bad economy. We're going to get a stimulus check. We're going to get a stimulus check out of this. So I might as well spend some of my fiat and get more Bitcoin now. Because I know, basically, my future stimulus check is going to be used for this. And it was. It really was. I thought ahead like that. But like, I posted on Twitter, and there are Bitcoiners that are like replying to it like, oh no, this is not over yet. It's still going down. It's still, I mean, God almighty, dude, you really just got to get into get really into this thing. Like, and I wasn't worried at all. And I showed the freaking world that I was, you could talk the talk. And I mean, I think that's what we were talking about at the beginning of this show. That a lot of dudes that talk the talk about, how great they're doing and their Lamborghini, but can you walk the walk? Can you show that you really bought 2 Bitcoin on the scariest day in financial history since 9/11? I showed it. I was so proud to show everyone because I thought it would inspire others. And there were a few people that said, "Yeah, man, strong hand. It's a strong hand." But that's what the Bitcoin overlay is really all about. A day like that, when you're just living in a different world. You're you're looking down on everyone, seeing like, what is this madness? This is madness in fiat world. It is madness. And some people really learned that lesson the hard way that time around.
Yeah, well, you've dropped a lot of lessons. I'm gonna, on February 9, 2021, you tweeted Bitcoin flashback, September 19th, 2014. I say that people should buy $10,000 worth of $420 Bitcoin. Instead of buying a $50,000 car, those 23.8 Bitcoin are now worth over $1 million. Long-term thinking, strong hand. That was it's a monumental clip and point, in terms of the purchasing value. I'm going to try to play that clip here. Let's see if that comes through actually here.
To Bitcoin, which is related to all these matters. Actually, it's a currency that no government controls, and I know a lot of you like to waste money on crazy things. Buy a $50,000 car. Well, do this instead of buying your $50,000 car. Get a $25,000 car and invest $10,000 in Bitcoin. Oh well, wait a second. Bitcoin could go to zero, couldn't it? Right now it's around $420, I think, for 1 Bitcoin. But guess what? If you get a car for $50,000 in a few years, it's going to be worth $10,000. So you're going to lose the money anyway. Okay? So with Bitcoin, there's an upside. Sure, the $10,000 you invest in Bitcoin could be worth zero, but also could be worth $100,000 one day. You don't know.
I mean, besides commenting on maybe how your hair was a little longer than, you have any thoughts on this one?
Well, yes, I actually do. That is my Twitter. I pinned that on Twitter. That's from September of 2014, and it's worth over $2 million now. What I told people to do then, and it was you could easily have done it then, and I am proud of that. But that wasn't a day of that was just a regular day. That was that was my message. I'm proud that that's out there. And it just shows you that I've been in this game a long time. I've been saying the exact same thing a long time, which many people find incredibly boring. They're like, I don't want to watch your videos because you always say the same thing. Well, it paid off. And you might also notice that in that video, I'm wearing this exact shirt here that I'm holding up. I still have I got this shirt for free at an Oreo game. It was a giveaway.
Oh, good catcher.
Huh?
He's a good catcher, Matt Wieters.
He was a catcher of the Orioles, Matt Wieters. And that shows you how I'm living a life. Like, I still have the same shirt, yet clearly I have at least $2 million worth of Bitcoin. And I love this shirt, man. I love the Baltimore, baby. But dudes, that's a classic out there. It's just I've seen a lot. That shows you that I've seen a lot. And I had long hair then because I just got back from traveling around, and I only get my hair cut in Baltimore to this very day from same barber many years. So I hadn't gone to the barber shop. It was right before Rosh Hashanah, so I was gonna go to the barber shop right like a couple days after that I went to the barber shop. I also have a very good memory for dates. I'm really good with numbers in terms of remembering numbers. It's a very strange thing, but I have that talent where I can remember specific dates, how much it was worth, blah blah blah. That comes in handy with Bitcoin, I guess, and not worrying, remembering, I've already seen it at this number on this date. And recently when we had the tariff panic, we were getting to a point where I was thinking that people were going to say to me, Adam, you do know in April of 2021, which was 4 years ago, Bitcoin was at an all-time high of $65,000. And could we get to a day today in April where it's less than 65? I'm like, no, wait, no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. And also the rule exactly is the true rule is 210,000 blocks. And by that point, we'd already passed that but it all got fixed anyway. We did not drop that low. It only dropped, how low did it drop? 77,000 or something like that? I don't know. Still way higher than it was 4 years before that date, or really 210,000 before that date. But yeah, I can remember things like that. It calms you down and stuff. But people do start wondering, well, wait a second, was it really worth more than this 4 years ago? Yeah, it was. It really was. And then I remember that whole 2021 cycle, when it reached that 65,000 or 60 whatever high, it went down for quite some time. Most of it was like we had a really nice peak in the spring of 2021, and then and people were down. They're like, we're in the bear market again. And then in November, woo! Again, it reached 69, and that was the end of it. That was the end of the bear market of 20. And 2022 was pretty nasty, man. It was but I already lived through 2018 before and 2014 before. So no, I just had to tell people we do this. It's the 4-year cycle. And if your next question is it different this time, Adam? No, I don't see why. Because people asked me that last time, and I would have to say that 2026. I don't know how high it's going to get this year. God willing, get as high as possible, dudes, because in 2026 there are going to be some crashes. I just don't see. I think China might do something with Taiwan. I think the Democrats might totally dominate the. I hope these things do not happen. I hope to God these things don't happen. China and there might be something might happen with Russia. There's all sorts of bad things. It's like all these things probably could happen in 2026. And this is the year that Bitcoin usually doesn't do too well. So there's nothing, like, I hope I'm wrong, dudes. I'm not a prophet, but I am not going to be the dude that says it's different this time. I'm not going to be that guy. I just want you to be real. I'm going to try to take the emotion out of it. All right? I'm saying that a realist like me can say, yeah, this is going to be a pretty darn good year, at least until November or so. And, but 2026, I can't be reassuring on that, dudes. I don't know what's going to happen there. I could see bad things, but let me tell you some miracles that could happen. AI could all of a sudden just like be wild. AI could just totally take over everything. And like that could just make this world a world of abundance. And then, yeah, maybe everything will go up forever. That would be freaking awesome. And by the way, speaking about AI, and that's a good segue into quantum FUD, I think. I think that's a good question. But there's something I want to address with quantum computing FUD. We are living in a great time where we have all these new innovations in terms of money, in terms of health, in terms of AI. The AI revolution is bigger than cryptocurrency. It is. I'm telling you the truth. The Bitcoin thing is huge, huge, huge. It's just such an honor to be alive during a time where we had a .com revolution and people said, oh, this is a once in a lifetime thing. And then all of a sudden we're having a cryptocurrency revolution. And right after that, AI. Now the revolutions are happening more and more often. Now, so people think, well, we're going to have this quantum thing. The quantum thing is coming next. They're going to be able to have quantum computing. Dudes, that is some really hard stuff. And we are really far away. Now, I love that these American companies like Google or whatever, they're making progress with the quantum stuff. Okay? And I don't want people to panic, because I've heard about quantum FUD for years. Like, all our private keys are going to be known in 2 seconds. All of a sudden, Google's going to know it, and they're going to steal our Bitcoin. Like, first of all, if a country Bitcoin would be the first thing they try to crack. Okay, they would try to crack like the weapons codes of your enemy. I mean, all sorts of different things. Secondly, it's not just going to happen one day. There's a build-up to it. We're at the build-up to quantum. Also, quantum is not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed we will have quantum computing. It's not guaranteed. It is not guaranteed. And so it's not going to happen tomorrow, dudes. And if it is possible, I think there's going to be plenty of warning. There has been plenty of work on making Bitcoin quantum compatible, okay? That's out there. It can be switched to. And I think if quantum was a real threat, then yeah, there would be a hard fork that everyone would agree. There would be no doubt about it, okay? I think that's a no doubt about it moment. Now, it's not something to worry about right now, though, because we're not close to that no doubt about it moment. But what I think is going to happen here is we're going to have some players out there that are going to be like, yeah, let's just make it quantum compliant now. This quantum thing is coming soon. Let's make it quantum compliant. And you know what else? We have all these lost Bitcoin out there. And once it does become quantum compliant, or once quantum does happen, if we don't do it fast enough, those are the ones that are going to get stolen. And then, what we should do now is make everything quantum compliant. And at the same time, let's fix the lost Bitcoin thing. And we're going to add 4 million Bitcoin. And that's going to take care of some other problems. So, dudes, what I foresee is that quantum FUD is going to be increased, not because these people are worried about quantum at all. They are the side of things that want a Bitcoin that has 42 million Bitcoin or whatever. They want to increase the supply. Or maybe they'll want to increase the supply and make some other chains that make it less private or more, or something that, they could easily fork off Bitcoin and make their own DARPA. The people complaining about the ordinals. Maybe they'll be the people that don't think ordinals should be on the blockchain. Maybe they'll be the ones that'll be spreading the quantum FUD. In order to change Bitcoin, we're going to make it quantum compliant, and we're going to make sure that, you can't have ordinals out there anymore. Someone is going to use this quantum scare tactic to try to sneak something in. Don't let it happen. If they want 42 million Bitcoin, if they want lost Bitcoin renewed, then fork off. Make your own Bitcoin. Don't destroy that's the awesome thing. I talk about destruction being horrible, how I hate destruction. That's what I love about Bitcoin. Like, if you don't agree with it, then you make your own Bitcoin. You fork off. Roger Ver did not destroy Bitcoin. I give him credit. He didn't want to destroy Bitcoin. He had a different interpretation of Bitcoin. So he made his own Bitcoin that clearly wasn't Bitcoin. So he made his own altcoin. Great. And that was fine. I had no problem. So that's why I'm very comfortable. And this is a second topic, a good segue into the second topic. And I do want to hear what you have to say about the quantum FUD being used, if you had heard about that yet. That maybe one day quantum FUD would be used to sneak in other changes that everyone might not accept otherwise. But there was a tweet out there, I retweeted it, and it really got me thinking. I love to use Twitter, by the way. I don't argue with people at all. I don't reply. I learn. I read. I treat it as a web page. I probably said this on the show in the past. Treat people's Twitter feeds as web pages. Just read them and learn. Because there's a lot of great information, a lot of great ideas out there. And retweet the good stuff and comment on the good stuff. That's part of networking. You know, all the people who complain, oh, I can't find the job, I can't do it. No, you do. That's how you network online now. And people love that DMs that are smart DMs. But I digress. There was a tweet out there, some guy complaining about the miners or something like, mining is not going to be profitable soon. I've heard this FUD a million times. So, but he said, because mining is not going to be profitable soon. I mean, I think this is probably a guy that was implying that we should have increase the supply limit, obviously. But I don't agree that mining is, I think it is a profitable business. But he said, because it's going to be unprofitable, but because all these ETFs have so much invested in it, they are going to become the miners. And then, they're going to make changes or something like that. But I was like, wait a second. There's an argument right there for why, Bitcoin can survive without, changing its financial incentives. Because there are some entities that are so heavily invested in Bitcoin that they will become the miners and lose a little bit of money on it. Michael Saylor might have to set up maybe MicroStrategy will set up a mining company so they can keep their thing going, okay? Now, we do, so that really got my mind thinking about because I've always said there are going to be entities one day that is just going to be it's going to be worth their while to just mine Bitcoin at a loss, just to keep it going. But I've never been able to name them per se. Well, there we go. The ETFs. Maybe it's going to be them. I do not know. Now we have to be careful. We still have to be. The good thing about the Bitcoin inquisitionists out there that are so pure about Bitcoin, they do set a very high standard of what Bitcoin is. So I mean, they can be annoying and everything, but if they keep on defining Bitcoin as it is, not changing at all, that if God forbid one of these entities, if MicroStrategy went rogue, okay, and did start mining it, became the biggest miner, and then decided they were to make a change, we would have this philosophy, this because this is how we won the Bcash thing too. We defined what the real Bitcoin was. So if they forked off a MicroStrategy Bitcoin, it wouldn't be the real Bitcoin. It would just be we would have the social consensus still. So that's one of the good things about the Bitcoin inquisitionists out there. They create a environment where the social consensus of what Bitcoin is very well established, and it can go against a lot of attack vectors that are out there. But that's why I bring up this idea of using quantum FUD to attack Bitcoin and to sneak in other things, so that some of these Bitcoin inquisitionists hear about this and just become stronger in their convictions. So I do want to hear what you have to think about.
I mean, I would just echo what you're saying. I think Bitcoiners in the year 2025, I'd like to see Bitcoiners stay more vigilant, be more vigilant. Don't trust, verify, validate for yourself. Really think about the long-term implications of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin needs to be flexible and nimble, but we don't want to make mistakes. It's not move fast and break things. So I think we have to proceed carefully. But I think apathy is our greatest enemy. So I love all the different scenarios. I love the conversation. Let's debate the idea. It's not really for me about finding the exact threat vector. It's identifying all the potential threat vectors and talking about them and having the conversation, the debate. Let the best ideas win. Let's even throw some things against the wall that just for the sake of conversation and debate. So I love it. Before we, wrap up, and I ask maybe one more question, I do want to play a clip from our show the last time we talked. I think it was in 2022, maybe this summer, because, consistency is one of our best friends here. So, the main quote here is you should have more Bitcoin than you ever did. I think this is around when Bitcoin was recorded when Bitcoin had that drop from around 69K down to 15. Maybe this is around 18. I don't know if we were bouncing up from the bottom or still going down. But let's check in with the clip.
More Bitcoin than you ever did. On Juneteenth, I bought 0.3, okay? Adam Meister rarely buys Bitcoin. Makes a proclamation on Twitter, shows the screenshot. The time before I did that was March 12th and 13th of 2020 when I bought 2 Bitcoin for like a combined a little bit over $10,000. That was a rare opportunity, Rick. It was a very rare opportunity. I mean, there was for months and months, people were like, "Oh, I feel bad now that I didn't buy it at 20,000 in 2017." We'll never get back. But we got to December of 2017. So you had your opportunity. I took advantage of the opportunity, and I already got plenty of darn Bitcoin. It's the rich get richer. But that's personal responsibility. It's a new counterculture. Next halving, a little bit after that, when we're booming, people are going to say again, you just got lucky. You bought it you bought early. You did this, you did that, you did whatever. And, you're rich. You're rich. You're lucky. You're rich. You're this. You have no talent. Let's live in the moment right now, okay? I wasn't lucky, dudes. I bought the stuff just now when the sentiment was the worst freaking ever. Everyone is panic stricken. I bought, okay? That isn't luck. That's using your freaking head, okay? So the people, and I'm rich already, and I got richer because of it. It ain't luck, and I'm not guilty that I'm getting richer and richer because I'm smart, and it's not luck. And I think the sucker MCs out there that love to say when times are good in Bitcoin that it was lucky, they're poor, okay? And I feel nothing. I feel nothing for them at all. And that is pure logic there. That's not what the word is about anymore. So they're victims. You should feel bad for them because they didn't get rich when you got rich. When you got rich, the poor are getting poorer. The poor are getting poorer under the scenarios that I just talked about because they believe in this magical luck stuff. Okay? That's their fault that they believe in this magical luck. And they need a Gnostic leader to tell them what is really true. I mean, that's the world we're living in. People can't think for themselves anymore. They need a Gnostic leader to tell them what's really true, what's really reality, when they should buy, when they should sell, what is nice, what is mean, who you feel bad for, and everything. You can't think how to, wipe their own toughness anymore.
And the bigger damage, I think, is...
So, I love that rant. Anger is a gift. It's one of the reasons I got into Bitcoin. I was angry at what was happening to my life and how hard it was to get ahead on a fiat standard. So, it's one of the reasons I love wearing this Rage Against the Machine shirt. It's like, I think we need to Bitcoin against the machine. We need a little more anger, I think, in 2025 to get through this. Maybe we've been a little numbed by number go up. So
I wanted to bring up that quantum FUD because I hadn't heard that yet. That it's a way to sneak in other stuff.
Oh yeah, I hear a lot of FUD. I didn't want to compete. I wanted to hear yours. But I do think that something's going to happen. I don't know which one.
Yeah, as I said, I let them all fork. Forks are good. I mean, we get free crap coin that we can turn into Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think these kinds of things will hurt people who don't hold and self-custody their own Bitcoin. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's an important point. that's actually a very, very good point. Yeah, that could be something nasty with that coming along the line. Oh, we didn't talk. Well, okay, it's fine. Sellers and people buying MicroStrategy instead of Bitcoin is so insane.
I like how Josh Mann starts calling it Michael strategy. Because he's basically issuing Michael bucks to buy Bitcoin on your behalf and diluting you.
One thing I would never guess back in the day is that there would be a company that would be, a huge, wealthy company, and all they would do is hold Bitcoin. That's what they do. They hold, because at one time they did something else, which I still don't understand what the heck they used to do. But they've made Bitcoin holding company a legitimate company. So he made a huge multi-billion-dollar company out of like what you and I do, on our storage devices.
Right. So now we don't need people to babysit our Bitcoin. And I think what a lot of shareholders are missing here is, they stand in line behind the debt. And I don't think MicroStrategy is over-levered, but I think in the future, if they borrow a shit ton more money to buy Bitcoin and Bitcoin gets volatile, the debt holders will be in front of the shareholders. And or that Bitcoin can get hacked. Right, and that hack could be a pre-arranged agreement with the United States government that they're going to tell the world that North Korea hacked all the Bitcoin. Oh, it's gone, and our enemy has it. And then a year later, they're like, oh, we recovered it, but here's sorry about your shares in MicroStrategy. I think there could be a lot of weird things that could happen. But I think we could do a whole show on that. I just kind of did one on the meme factory. To be honest,
I'll say this: I think there's just a lot of people out there that think buying the underlying asset is hard, and just like why not? And it's so easy to buy MicroStrategy stock. I mean, they already have stock portfolio. It's so easy. But they don't realize it's so easy to buy Bitcoin too. It's like, so he's getting away, and it's not. People are going to keep thinking that. So he's going to be able to do this for quite some time.
Unless it blows up.
I don't want any piece of it. And I don't want it to blow up, though. Because, again, I'm not into destruction. And I know it'll hurt the price of Bitcoin. It shouldn't, but it will.
I'm starting to think it's the most obvious point of failure.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that as a 2026 point of failure, too. Yeah, it really might be. I hope to God it does not happen.
I think it's one thing if someone has, some bucks in an IRA system. They already have their Bitcoin, and they're like, oh, I had $10,000 here, and it's grown. But I think a lot of people are not buying Bitcoin like what you said, and they're like, oh, this MicroStrategy, let him he can do it better than me. And it's like, you're going to get an IOU.
I got to tell you something. One thing that the OGs from 2016 would be very disappointed with, if you told them in 2016 how few people actually control their own Bitcoin. Like, it's exponentially increased the people who don't control their own Bitcoin. And who think it, and there's so many different ways to not. You could say you own MicroStrategy. You could say you own an ETF. You could say Coinbase has it. So many of those options did not even exist back then. So those options have increased a lot, and it's just as complex. It's not complex for me, but for most people, it's just as complex to move it to a Trezor. It just as it was back in 2016. So, a lot of people will be disappointed in that. Again, for me, it's personal responsibility as a new counterculture. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. You really should learn how to control. But people are used to keeping hundreds of thousands of dollars in a bank. So,
$1 million Bitcoin, there are going to be some people who are like, oh, I'll borrow $700,000 against my $1 million Bitcoin. Then the $1 million Bitcoin goes down to 250, and Cantor Fitzgerald gets your Bitcoin, and you get margin called.
Yeah, that.
And I think you're going to see a lot of that at a huge scale.
Well, I specifically think that if it really does get to 1 million, the people are going to be so crazy they're going to do things as insane as what you just said, and that's really bad. It's just scaled up. Like doing it at this level would be bad too. 175,000 at 100, but dude, that's.
And so, could you imagine the people who get the double whammy? Who let's say they, put their Bitcoin, the $1 million Bitcoin, and buy $700,000 of MicroStrategy, and they both crash.
Oh yeah, that's living. Some people. Well, that's another thing I've said in the past. Like, all these people are like, yeah, I love when Bitcoin gets lower because I can buy more. I'm like, dude, have you thought about some of the guys out there that, in theory, if there were some big crashes where you get to buy it for cheap, they're going to commit suicide. There are men that will commit suicide. If your scenario happens, there will be men who kill themselves. That's not a good. I don't like that. I don't think that's good at all. No, that's horrible. And yeah, sure, I'll be able to buy it for cheaper. That's not. It's just like I don't wish it to get cheaper. I never ever say things like that because I do know there's some people who emotionally have done things that aren't logical and are going to end up dead at their own hands. It's just really sad. It's really bad. But yeah, that's a really good. That's a good $1 million prediction. Usually the $1 million predictions I hear are like, oh yeah, we're going to $1 million. No, when we get to $1 million, there's going to be some people making some, because that's such a nice round number. There's a psychological aspect to money, which I've discussed with you before too. And I really think some people are like, I'm going to get a house for free now. I'm going to get a house for free. Make my own mortgage for my Bitcoin. Coinbase has my mortgage. Oop! 2 months later, they liquidate your ass. It's not good.
Adam Meister, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. The last thing I would touch on is I think it was your show in Unconfiscatable where like American HODL and Trace Mayer kind of had, a little bit of a thing. And what an epic moment to be a part of. It shows how long you've been around. You've seen a lot. So I'll leave it to you for any parting words. I love talking to you. I can't thank you enough. I don't know if you'll be in Vegas. I'd love to run into you again sometime. But I'll leave it to you to let people know where they can find you and your work.
All right. Yes, that Trace Mayer, American HODL. That's where Trace Mayer disappeared for a while. And that was in February of 2020 or March of 2020. Or February, right before the craziness started. And now Trace has reappeared and people don't even remember that. It's fun. Again, short. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at TechBalt, TechBalt. And you can find me on YouTube. I'm Bitcoin Meister, Adam Meister. If so many people depend on algorithms now, they don't know how to type into a search box anymore. It's so sad. You can find me so easily. Just my name's Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, TechBalt on Twitter. But most people, they're algorithm slaves, and they are fed whatever the YouTube algorithm, so they'll never see my shows. But I do love that clip that you just paid, and the people that said we were lucky, they're still bitter. And they still want Gnostic leaders like Tucker Carlson to tell them it's true and everything. I've stayed the same, and those losers have stayed the same too. It's just sad. They should have changed. They'd be in great shape now. If back then in the summer of 2022 they just would have bought some Bitcoin, they have a whole different mindset. It really can change. It really has. There are some people. I'll leave you with this. They were like gold bugs for many, many years before Bitcoin. And they just thought it was so depressing. And their whole life revolved around the world falling apart. Because that's what gold revolved. For gold to do well, the world has to fall apart. But they got into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin doesn't, no. Bitcoin does well. It does well not because of that. It does well because of positive stuff. And it's growing. It doesn't involve destruction and panic. It's innovation, and it's so many people have said they're so glad they became Bitcoiners instead of gold. They just see life in a whole new positive way. So I'll leave you with that, people. Be positive, always be networking, and don't scapegoat dudes, and pound that like button.
Your work, those clips make me think about my future self and how I want to sit in Adam's seat one day. And, I go, 210,000 blocks from now, I want to be able to talk like that. So personal responsibility is the new counterculture. Bitcoin, buy and hold it, strong hands, deferral of gratification. Adam Meister, as always, has been so dope. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Bitcoin Matrix. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below with any questions or thoughts you may have. We'd love to hear from you. You can support the show by checking out our sponsors and affiliate links in the description. It helps keep bringing you great content while connecting you with awesome products that I believe in. Share this episodes with your friends, family, or anyone curious about Bitcoin. And let's keep growing this community together. Stay curious, keep stacking, and I'll catch you in the next one.